Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the podcast, and welcome to your AEW Dynamite post-show. And man, there's a lot to talk about in today's episode. We have MJF in action against Kevin Knight for the TNT title. We also have the Brawling Birds. We get the return of Jamie Hayter back from injury. We have Okada defending the international title as well against Ace Austin. We'll talk about that in today's episode. We get a vignette of Bandito, or maybe not of Bandito. We also hear from the Death Riders. We have Copeland and Cage in action in tag team match against Roppongi Vice. We also have a women's tag team title match with Divine Dominion taking on Sheeta and Chris Statlander. We'll talk about that in today's episode as well. We also have Roosh in action, and we also have a world title match in the main event between Darby Allin defending the AEW world title against Brody King. We'll talk all about that in today's episode. So let's start off the night, man. Let's kick off the night. We have MJF taking on Kevin Knight for the TNT title. I thought it was a good match. It was a back-and-forth matchup between MJF and Kevin Knight, with MJF keeping the pace of the match. MJF hits a powerbomb on Knight onto the barricade on the outside. Knight then hits a DDT, followed by a splash for a near fall. Kevin Knight then hits a senton over the ropes to the outside, taking out MJF, followed by Knight hitting a springboard lariat to the outside, taking out MJF. MJF then gets up, tries to get some offense in by hitting a cutter on Kevin Knight in the middle of the ring for a near fall. Kevin Knight gets up, hits a Hurricane Rana, but MJF hits a super kick, followed by a Panama Sunrise on Kevin Knight for a near fall. Kevin Knight then goes to the top rope, hits a UFO splash for a near fall. MJF then was going after the injured leg of Kevin Knight. This allowed MJF to hit an Alabama slam on Kevin Knight in the middle of the ring for a near fall. MJF then grabs the TNT title, but the referee takes the title. MJF then pulls out the Dynamite Diamond Ring, but Kevin Knight hits a low blow on MJF, goes for the cover, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match, and still TNT champion, is Kevin Knight. After the match, you can see MJF attacking Knight. Darby Allin then comes down from the rafters. He attacks MJF with a Scorpion Death Drop, and then MJF mocks Darby Allin. MJF then says the only thing he cares about is the Triple B. MJF then says he wants his rematch. He demands a rematch with Darby Allin. Darby then tells MJF, no, not until you put something on the line. Darby says if he gets past Brody King tonight, he will give Kevin Knight an opportunity at the AEW World title. After that, Darby Allin is interrupted by Brody King. Brody comes out to the ring, says Darby is not going to make it to tonight. Brody says that next week, Knight won't be facing Darby Allin, but instead he'll be facing Brody King. Some interesting stuff there from Brody King. Moving on from that, we have a women's tag team matchup. It is the Brawling Birds, the return of Jamie Hayter, taking on some jobbers. This was a glorified squash match with the Brawling Birds keeping the pace of the match. And the Brawling Birds end up hitting the finish, pins for the 3, and your winners of the match are the Brawling Birds. Are we seeing the new number 1 contenders possibly for the women's tag team titles? Moving on from that, we have an international title matchup. It is Okada defending the international title against Ace Austin. I thought it was a decent match. It was a back-and-forth matchup between Okada and Austin, with Okada keeping the pace of the match. Austin hits a Death Valley driver, followed by a springboard enziguri on Okada. Okada gets up, tries to get some offense in by hitting a DDT on the outside on Ace Austin, followed by an elbow drop. Austin gets up, hits a jumping leg drop, followed by a springboard leg drop for a near fall. Austin then goes for a springboard maneuver, but Okada counters it with a devastating drop kick, taking out Austin. This allowed Okada to hit a tombstone pile driver, followed by his signature Rainmaker, landing on Ace Austin, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match, and still AEW International Champion, is Okada. After the match, you can see Okada standing in the ring with Don Callis, but up, if you look up towards the ramp, you can see Takeshita. It looks like Takeshita has his sights set on the international title. Now, that matchup between Takeshita and Okada will take place at Double or Nothing for the international title. Moving on from that, we have a vignette, and the vignette looks like it's from Bandito. This was the same formulaic vignette that we've seen from Bandito before, which takes place in the Old West. But in the video, you see people pretty much getting their ass kicked, getting tossed around all through the outside of this saloon. But then all of a sudden, one of the people that were in the saloon, they got tossed out of the saloon and they were looking up, and then they ran off. And then all of a sudden, we see Prince Nana and Swerve Strickland. Swerve picks up a wanted poster that has Bandito's face on it. He looks at it, and then the next thing you know, he takes a lighter and sets the poster on fire. So it looks like Swerve Strickland has his sights set on Bandito. Some interesting stuff there from Swerve Strickland. And moving on from that, we have a backstage segment with the Death Riders. You can see the Death Riders training backstage. Then all of a sudden, walking through the door is none other than Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay walks into the Death Riders dungeon, if you will. He walks in there and he is greeted by the Death Riders and greeted by Jon Moxley. And you can tell that Will Ospreay looks distraught. He looks confused. But he's backstage with the Death Riders, and it looks like Jon Moxley and the Death Riders are trying to recruit Will Ospreay. Jon Moxley himself had said that he will make Will Ospreay the most dangerous weapon in all of AEW. So it looks like the Death Riders are trying to recruit Will Ospreay to join them in the Death Riders. Some interesting stuff from the Death Riders. We'll talk more about that at the end of today's episode. Moving on from that, we have a tag team matchup. It is Roppongi Vice taking on Copeland and Cage. FTR are ringside during this matchup, but the match itself was a good match. It was a back-and-forth matchup between both teams, with Copeland and Cage keeping the pace of the match. The Conglomeration are here. They are standing in the crowd. And then the Conglomeration attack FTR and Stokely Hathaway. Romero hits a running knee off the apron, but Cope hits an impaler for a near fall. Roppongi Vice hits a jumping knee in the middle of the ring. But Cage hits a spear, Copeland goes for the cover, pins for the 3, and your winners of the match are Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. After the match, Cage goes to the outside, grabs a chair, he breaks off a piece of the chair, hands it to Copeland, and Copeland chokes out Trent Beretta with a piece of the chair. Christian Cage has a microphone, and then you can hear Beretta scream, "I quit." Some interesting stuff there from Copeland and Cage. And moving on from that, we have a women's tag team title matchup where it is Divine Dominion defending the women's tag team titles against Shida and Chris Statlander. The match itself, it was a decent match. It was a back-and-forth matchup between both teams, with Divine Dominion keeping the pace of the match. Shida picks up a kendo stick, but Statlander stops her. Shida then suplexes Statlander into Megan Bayne. A little confusion there between Shida and Statlander. Statlander then hits a Hurricane Rana on Divine Dominion in the middle of the ring, followed by Statlander hitting a spinning lariat. Statlander then goes to the top rope, hits a 450 splash on Divine Dominion for a near fall. Shida then follows it up with a Meteora, followed by a Falcon Arrow for a near fall, but Divine Dominion end up hitting the finish, pins for the 3, and your winners of the match, and still AEW Women's Tag Team Champions are Divine Dominion. Hats off to Divine Dominion for getting the win in this matchup. And moving on from that, we have Roosh in action. Roosh is taking on a jobber. This was a glorified squash match with Roosh keeping the pace. Roosh ultimately hits the finish, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match is Roosh. Hats off to Roosh for getting the win in this matchup. And moving on from that, closing out the night for AEW Dynamite, it is Darby Allin defending the AEW World title against Brody King. I thought this was a good match, man. It was a back-and-forth matchup between Darby and Brody, with Brody King keeping the pace of the match. King hits a Cannonball Senton into the corner on Darby, but Darby gets up, hits a Avalanche Code Red, followed by Darby hitting a Code Red on the announce table. Brody King then hits a Lariat for a near fall, but King then throws Darby over the ropes to the outside. King then goes for a senton, but missed and went through the barricade. Darby then exposes the concrete floor. Darby hits a powerbomb on King onto the exposed concrete floor, followed by Darby hitting a coffin drop to the outside. Darby then hits another 2 coffin drops on Brody King, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match, and still AEW World Champion, is Darby Allin. Hats off to Darby Allin for getting the win in this matchup. A couple of things I want to talk about with you guys, man, when it pertains to AEW Dynamite before I get the hell up out of here. Number one, First and foremost, I do apologize. I am under the weather a little bit. Haven't really been feeling good for the past week. So I do apologize for that. But as far as AEW is concerned, man, to me, it's getting to a point where there is frustration. There's frustration from the crowd. There's frustration from the fans. There's frustration from the internet wrestling community when it pertains to Darby Allin. And look, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm not a fan of Darby Allin's work. I think Darby Allin is a great competitor. You never know what you're going to get from Darby Allin. And he's a really good wrestler. I'm not taking anything away from Darby's athletic ability and what he can do in the squared circle. But the idea that AEW has by putting the title on Darby to get Darby over, I think is a huge fucking mistake, to be honest with you. And I told you guys when Darby won the title, man, it was so formulaic in the aspect of, like, you knew Darby was going to win this title when they were in Everett, Washington. All signs led to Darby beating MJF in Everett, Washington on that episode of Dynamite and become the new AEW World Champion. And I told you guys before, the icing on the cake was when we saw Sting. When Sting approached Darby backstage and Sting told Darby, it's not showtime, it's your time. It just told me that everything was kind of lining up for Darby Allin to become the new AEW World Champion. And I vented my frustrations with that, and I want to vent my frustrations with that today. Darby, leading up to Darby actually beating MJF for the world title, Darby really hasn't done shit. Darby got one good win over Andrade. And again, Andrade and MJF was a match that a lot of people have been patiently waiting for. They want to see this matchup between Andrade and MJF because it's going to be a barn burner match. Darby gets a win over Andrade, which ultimately grants him an opportunity at the AEW World title. Great. But before that, Darby Allin wasn't doing shit. Darby Allin was getting his ass kicked by the Death Riders. He was getting his ass kicked by the Dogs. He was getting his ass kicked by Gabe Kidd. Darby really wasn't doing anything to really solidify himself as a number one contender for the AEW World title. Not until he beat Andrade. And at that point, it wasn't like, and again, Andrade has been red hot since he's been back in AEW. This is a whole different Andrade than what we had originally when he first showed up in AEW. This is a more hungrier Andrade, a more driven Andrade, and Andrade wants to be the top guy in AEW. I can't say the same thing about the Andrade that we first had in AEW. This is a whole different Andrade. So we have Darby beat Andrade, which grants Darby an opportunity at MJF's world title. We get that matchup at Everett, Washington, which was a glorified squash match, 5-minute squash, and Darby ends up getting the win and becomes new AEW World Champion, and they give him the Lex Luger treatment. If you guys go back as far as I do, when Lex Luger beat Hollywood Hulk Hogan on an episode of Nitro, you had the entire goddamn roster from WCW coming out and celebrating and parading around like he's the next biggest thing of all professional wrestling. Like MJF is this big bad wolf. I'm going to tell you guys right now that MJF was one of the main guys that was pretty much keeping the lights on for AEW. I'm going to be honest. Ratings were up, storylines were there, and the fan base was there. They were behind the situation of MJF being AEW World Champion. They spoon-fed this AEW World title to Darby Allin. And, okay, fine. But now it's gotten to a point where Darby, there's no storyline at all with Darby being World Champion. So much so that AEW and Darby Allin have decided to put the AEW World Championship on the line in open challenges week in and week out. So next week, we have Darby Allin defending the AEW World title against current TNT champion Kevin Knight. And look, I respect the hell out of Kevin Knight. I think Kevin Knight had a great match against MJF. I think he's an up-and-coming star. He's the future of AEW if he decides to stay with AEW for the next 10, 15 years, who knows. And he's a great talent. I praised Kevin Knight when he first came in. I said, look, this guy is a top guy. He's got a lot of, honestly, Kevin Knight has a lot of similarities to me that he had Scorpio Sky. If you guys go back with Scorpio Sky when he had his little not independent run, but singles run, and became TNT champion, it has a lot of similarities to both Kevin Knight and Scorpio Sky. And Kevin Knight has all the potential in the world. He has a very high ceiling. With that being said, do I need to see Kevin Knight have the TNT title and the AEW World Championship at the same damn time? No, the hell I do not. I don't. I think it's great that he's TNT champion. I'm hoping that he defends that belt more times than not, brings the TNT title back to some prominence that it once had. But that's the best place for Kevin Knight. He's an up-and-coming star for AEW. And if they book him correctly, he can be a main event star moving forward for AEW. But I do not need to see him as a TNT champion and AEW World Champion. I don't think there's any single individual, either it's a man or a woman on the roster, for AEW to hold two belts simultaneously. The roster is extremely fucking bloated. I said the same shit about Willow Nightingale when she had the TBS title and the women's AEW tag team championships. There's no reason why Willow needs to walk around with 2 goddamn titles. The roster is bloated as it is. There are individuals both on the men's side of things and the women's side of things that we've yet to see yet because they're trying to fill out a 2-hour time slot every single Wednesday on Dynamite. You know, we're just now getting the return of Anna Jay. And she's taking on Willow Nightingale for the TBS title on Collision on Saturday. We have not seen Anna Jay in quite some time. I think the last time we saw her, she was teaming up with Ty Mello, which, again, we haven't really seen Ty Mello either. You know what I mean? So, again, we have an abundance of talent. So, with the situation with Kevin Knight, do I think he's going to beat Darby Allin? No, I don't. I think Darby is going to hold on to this title until we get to Double or Nothing. Because every single time that MJF is offered an opportunity or wants his title back, Darby Allin's rebuttal every single time is that he wants MJF to put something on the line that's meaningful to MJF. Now, is this something where MJF will get his rematch at Double or Nothing, and the stipulation will, if MJF cannot beat Darby Allin at Double or Nothing, he will never ever have a chance to get an opportunity at the AEW World Championship again? As an intriguing offer from MJF to Darby Allin. Darby Allin could accept that. Okay, the match could take place at Double or Nothing, but then MJF goes over in his hometown, in his home state of New York. MJF should have never dropped that title. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think MJF should have kept that belt almost all until All In. Will Ospreay wins the Owen. Ospreay versus MJF at All In. Ospreay goes over at Wembley and becomes a new AEW World Champion. Because right now, I mean, hell, Swerve's out. Looks like Swerve's on his way back. We'll talk about that in a second. Adam Page is still out. And I mean, my thing, they were in Fairfax, Virginia for Dynamite, I believe, in Fairfax for Dynamite. This is Adam Page's hometown, home state in Virginia. Where's Adam Page? Is he injured, or is he taking some significant time off until you bring him back and write him into a storyline? That's the problem. You know, the problem is that, and if I noticed this about AEW, man, is that they've never had all their stars in one spot. You know what I mean? Where everybody's healthy, everybody's on the same page, nobody's taking some time off. AEW doesn't do that. And the reason why that is because I don't think they know how to solidify all their stars on a 2-hour episode of Dynamite. You know, somebody will take time off and then, okay, well, this person's injured. Or it's always the same song and dance for AEW. You know, I think also with Darby Allin, with these open challenges, bro, it takes away I wouldn't really say mystique, but the honor of carrying the AEW World title. This title should not be defended in open challenges, man. I think that's complete and utter bullshit. Open challenges are a dead gimmick, man. You look at, Monday Night Raw is doing it right now with Becky Lynch and Opa Femi. And Opa Femi having opening challenges after having the biggest match of his career against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. And now you have no plans for this guy. Now he has to have open challenges. It's a fucking joke. Write a story for this guy. This guy is the next big thing in WWE. He is the guy for the next 10, 15 years in WWE. You ain't got no fucking story for this guy? Come on, man. Come on. But then you'll praise Michael P.S. Hayes and Bobby Roode for producing the matches that they're producing. Write a fucking story for this guy. Get him something meaningful, man. I mean, come on, bro. It's the AEW Open Challenge concept is dead. It just shows that Tony Khan and the creative team for AEW is pure ass lazy. And they don't give a shit. The AEW World title should not be defended in open challenges. I'm sorry. It takes away the pride of the title. It takes away the nostalgia of what the title is. It's the biggest title in your company. And you're defending the belt in open challenges. It's lazy ass booking, man. I'm sorry. Like, actually put the time in and actually get off your asses and write a story. Honestly. I've been saying the same shit now for I don't know how long, bro. Write some fucking story. You want to have Darby Allin face off against a top competitor or top challenger? Then write a fucking story. The when, the where, and the why. Why is this guy number one contender? You look at someone like Brody King. I've said this now about Brody King for the past couple weeks. Here you have Brody King once again lobbying Tony Khan for another opportunity at the AEW World title, and Brody King once again comes up short. His first time around, he lobbied Tony Khan to get an eliminator matchup against MJF. He beats the hell out of MJF, and then he goes into the title match, and he loses. Same thing here. I don't want to see Brody King even sniff an opportunity at the AEW World title for the rest of the year. I don't. Because not only has he lost twice now to AEW World Champions, there's no story behind Brody King becoming AEW World Champion or being number one contender. Because you're going backstage, knocking on the door of Tony Khan. Hey, I want an opportunity at the AEW World title. Sure, Brody, we'll give you anything you want. That's not the way it fucking works, man. And it makes Brody King look like a sucker. It really does. It does no justice for Brody King. And Brody King needs to go in the back of the line. I had suggested that maybe Brody King needs to return back as a tag team. I don't see him as a guy that's going to carry this company on his back. I just don't. Sorry, I don't. I said the same thing about Mark Briscoe. I respect the hell out of Briscoe. But do I see him as the guy carrying this company on his back? Absolutely fucking not. I don't. And I respect the hell out of the Briscoes, man. Rest in peace to Jay. I think the Briscoes are one of the most underrated tag teams of all time. But with that being said, do I see Mark Briscoe being the guy that's going to carry AEW on his back? Absolutely not. And I don't think Tony Khan and the powers that be even see that same thing for Mark Briscoe. I just don't. So again, you look at a situation with Brody King. This is his second time around now that he is challenged for the AEW World title, and he has come up short. It's time for Brody King to go in the back of the line. I don't want to see him sniff another opportunity at the AEW World Championship, bro. I don't want to see it. I don't. You come up short, bro, twice, and you lobbied Tony Khan for these opportunities, and you fell flat on your ass. And you came up short. I'm done with the Brody King experiment, bro. I'm done with it. It's over. I'm done with it. I know he's over with the fan base. I get it. But it's not like you're not helping him by having him lose these opportunities. And again, you're also not helping Brody King be a main event star when he's losing these top matches, but you're also building him up to these matches with no fucking story. You know, the dynamics of what Brody King had to go through to get this opportunities, the hardship, the struggle to get to this world title. No, he's just lobbying Tony Khan backstage for an opportunity, bro. Fucking earn it. Work for it. Stop trying to take the easy way fucking out. Have matches against top contenders, top challengers for the title, number one contender. And you're not doing that. Rather than you going to Tony Khan, I would like an opportunity. And he's just handing these opportunities out like it's Willy Wonka's golden ticket. Here you go, have one. Take an opportunity. Fucking earn it. Work for it. You're not doing that. It's a lackadaisical approach. There's no booking around it. There's no storyline around it. So how can I be intrigued with an opportunity for Brody King having a world title matchup when there's no story behind it? There's no hardship. There's no struggle for Brody King to have to fight, scratch, and claw to get himself an opportunity at the AEW World title. Which I could say the same thing about Darby Allin. How much struggle did Darby really have to go through to get an opportunity at the AEW World title? Oh, well, you just said he got his ass kicked by the Death Riders and the War Dogs. Yeah, stables. How many top contenders did Darby Allin face off against to actually win those matches, scratch and claw to win those matches to become number one contender for the AEW World title? One fucking match. Andrade. One. It's a joke, man. It's an absolute joke. You put the belt on Darby to get a cheap pop in Everett, Washington, knowing that WWE was going into WrestleMania. Come on, bro. It's Jesus Christ. And you're behind the eight ball, man. I told you guys. Darby should have been the guy facing off against Bryan Danielson at WrestleDream a couple years ago in Tacoma. That was the opportunity for Darby Allin, because at that point, Darby Allin was red hot. Now, Darby Allin has been ice cold literally since he climbed Mount Everest. After Sting retired, Darby took a hiatus, he climbed Mount Everest, and then he came back, and it has not been the same Darby Allin. I'm sorry. It doesn't help Darby Allin's case either. It just doesn't. It doesn't. I think a lot of people are just waiting for Darby to drop the title. And then you're having open challenges on top of that shit. Next week is going to be Darby Allin versus Kevin Knight. Who gives a fuck? Who cares, man? It's a joke, bro. It's an absolute joke. The other thing I want to talk about, too, is Swerve Strickland. Now, we had this vignette I mentioned earlier in the show, in the episode, that it had a lot of similarities to Bandito. I mean, if you saw the one vignette from Bandito, it's literally the same. You see people flying out of windows and getting their ass kicked in a saloon and all this other shit. So my first impression was, holy shit, this is Bandito. But why are we getting another vignette of Bandito? You know, is this a second coming of Bandito? What the fuck's going on here? So I'm watching this vignette, but then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I see Prince Nana. I'm like, okay, what the fuck is going on here? And then I see Swerve. And Swerve picks up a wanted poster that has Bandito's face on it. He has this sinister smirk on his face. He takes a lighter and then sets the poster on fire. So it looks like Swerve Strickland has his sights set on Bandito. Now, again, we haven't seen Swerve in a little bit of time now, so it'd be great to see Swerve Strickland back in AEW where he belongs. You know, Swerve, I mean, honestly, the main event scene for AEW is red hot. It is. You have Swerve coming back. Hopefully Paige comes back sometime soon. You know, we have Will Ospreay back as well. So, I mean, the main event scene's fine for AEW. We just need story. And right now, with our current AEW World Champion, there's no story. It's hard for me to get intrigued by Darby Allin being AEW World Champion. So it's great to see Swerve Strickland back. And like I said, it looks like he has his sights set on Bandito. So, again, Bandito versus Swerve would be one hell of a match. I'm all for that, absolutely. Bandito is severely underrated, in my honest opinion. And Swerve's one of the best to do it, especially in AEW. I also want to talk about Will Ospreay. Honestly, this was probably the most confusing shit that I've ever seen in my life, as far as what Will Ospreay's done in AEW. I don't understand. I don't know what transpired. I know when Ospreay had a match, I think it was last week on Dynamite, and Ospreay got carried off to the back from the Death Riders. They walked him through the backstage area to the back. So it had a lot of people talking, like, what the hell's going on here with the Death Riders and Will Ospreay? Now we get to this episode of Dynamite where you can see Will Ospreay pretty much walking backstage into the Death Riders dungeon, if you will. And it looks like Jon Moxley is trying to recruit Will Ospreay. Moxley has made it known that he wants to make Will Ospreay the most dangerous weapon in AEW. I was confused like hell by this. I don't understand the mindset of Will Ospreay joining the likes of the Death Riders when Ospreay's whole mission since he's come back is to destroy the Death Riders and most notably destroy Jon Moxley. Now you have this guy joining, possibly, the Death Riders and Jon Moxley. What sense does this make? I don't understand this at all. What is Will Ospreay joining the Death Riders is going to do to anything? Death Riders need to fucking go. I've said this now for a long-ass time, bro. Ever since Paige won the title and finally saw the belt that was being captive in this fucking briefcase for God knows how long, and Paige beat Moxley for the AEW World title, the Death Riders should have disbanded, and Moxley should have took some time off. But instead, we see Moxley a week later on an episode of Dynamite like nothing ever happened. It's fucking insane. The Death Riders need to go, bro. It's over. I'm telling you, man, that theme song comes on, and it's like the sound of death for AEW. It needs to go. I mean, there's nothing intriguing about the Death Riders, man. It's the same old shit every single goddamn week. And I've said this now a million goddamn times. I'm going to say it one last time. When Moxley won the Continental title, I thought the Death Riders should have turned on him and beat the shit out of Jon Moxley and left him in a puddle of his own piss with that Continental title. But instead, they're all parading around like he won the fucking lottery. It's a joke, man. And you have Jon Moxley, which is the most confusing guy in AEW, because one side of the fence you think he's a babyface, or the other side of the fence you think this guy's a goddamn heel. What the fuck is it? Are you a babyface or a heel? Because as far as I'm concerned, Garcia, Claudio, Pac, and Marina Shafir are all heels. Then you got Moxley over here parading AEW. What the fuck are we doing here? The Death Riders should disband, bro, and Moxley needs to go on a singles run without the Death Riders. You know, you could have Garcia and Yuto as a tag team if you want to. Claudio can go after a singles run as well. Marina could be in the TBS title picture or the AEW women's title picture, something. The Death Riders is a fucking joke, man. It needs to go away. And then now they're teasing Will Ospreay joining the Death Riders, bro. Why? That's going to hurt Will Ospreay's career more than it does anything else. And maybe some people are like, well, bro, maybe it's something where keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Yeah, I get that. But we're also talking about AEW trying to form a storyline that makes sense. The tall tale task for AEW. Let's just be honest. That makes actual logical sense on why Ospreay is joining the Death Riders. Because as far as I'm concerned, well, Will Ospreay came back after neck surgery. I thought Ospreay's mission statement was to do everything he could to destroy Jon Moxley and everything around Jon Moxley. Now you're trying to join everything that Jon Moxley has, including the Death Riders. But then, on the other side of the fence, we have the Ops with Samoa Joe, Hook, Shibata, and the newly addition to the Ops, Anthony Bowens. And we hear Samoa Joe backstage being interviewed by Renee. And it looks like Samoa Joe is also trying to recruit Will Ospreay to join the Ops. I mean, what is this, the NFL draft? What was he, a first-round pick? What the fuck is going on here? Why does Will Ospreay need to be a part of a stable? Why? Will Ospreay should be focusing on the AEW World title. Why are we having him being, tossed around back and forth on whether he's going to be on the Death Riders or he's going to be joining the Ops? The Ops are fucking garbage. I'm sorry. The Death Riders, garbage. Hot garbage. I don't need to see Will Ospreay teaming up with Samoa Joe in the Ops. I'm sorry. The Ops is dog shit, man. It is. And it's great to see Samoa Joe back. It is. Big fan of Samoa Joe. Do I need to see Samoa Joe AEW World Champion right now? Absolutely fucking not. But, my God, bro, it's like you have no plans for these people, man. You have no plans for Will Ospreay. Ospreay even stated himself that he wants to go over to New Japan to help the United Empire. Good. Get the hell away from AEW for a little bit. Because clearly they don't know what the hell they're doing over here in AEW. Figure it the fuck out. I mean, it's the same old song and dance, bro. And I'm watching the AEW Dynamite episode, and I'm like, dude, this is a huge-ass waste of time. There's no storyline progression. There's no storyline for the matter. There's so much confusion and so much nobody knows what the fuck's going on. Ospreay joining the Death Riders or the Ops? Come on, man. One of the best parts of the Dynamite episode was seeing the return of Swerve Strickland. Darby Allin and Brody King, bro? No. And I'm sorry, Brody King needs to go in the back of the fucking line. I don't want to hear another thing about, oh, well, I talked to Tony Khan, I'm getting myself another title opportunity. No, bro, fuck off. Fuck off. We don't need you back in the AEW title picture. I'm sorry. And you're not doing anything to earn it, man. You're not. You keep telling Darby Allin or MJF, well, I went backstage, I talked to Tony Khan. Fucking earn it. Work for it, bro. Fight some number one contenders for it and actually become the new number one contender. Stop trying to knock on the door of Tony Khan back. Hey, Mr. Khan, do you mind if I get an opportunity at the title? Come on, man. It's just, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that shit. I'm sorry. Fucking earn it, man. Work for it. Make me believe that you're the number one contender for the AEW World title instead of you automatically. I mean, he says it every fucking time. Well, I talked to Tony Khan backstage. I'd rather have Brody King say, well, you know what? I scratched, clawed, and worked my ass off to get this opportunity. And whether you like it or not, I'm the new number one contender. So either, defend the title or pack up and roll the fuck out. That's the Brody King that I want. I want that aggression Brody King. Not, oh, well, I talked to Tony Khan. No, I fucking earned this opportunity. And you're going to defend that title. Or I'm going to take the belt from you whether you like it or not. That's the Brody King I want to see. The pissed off, angry Brody King. Not the Brody King that's lobbying Tony Khan backstage like he's looking for an ice cream bar from Tony Khan and gets an opportunity for an AEW World Championship opportunity. Come on, bro. Well, I talked to the boss and gave me an opportunity at the AEW World title. Fuck off. Seriously, man. Fucking work for it. Work for it. And not for nothing, Andrade should be in that title picture. I'm sorry. Call me crazy, but he should be in that title picture. Because people still want to see a match between Andrade and MJF. That right there could crown a new number one contender for the AEW World title. Instead of Darby Allin giving an open challenge to Kevin Knight. Come on, man. Like, give me some story. Honestly, what the fuck happened? And one time, AEW told some of the best stories. They had Jericho and MJF, Sting's retirement tour. Where is the fucking story? Wardlow, MJF, y'all remember that shit? Where's the fucking story, man? Honestly. Like, do you not have a decent production team to, help see backstage, beatdowns or parking lot beatdowns or something, man? Give me some intrigue, something. It's fucking laziness. It's laziness. And you have some people that are on the shelf. I'm great to see Swerve Strickland back. But here's the other thing, too. I don't know if you guys had noticed this or not. Britt Baker. The NFL draft this year was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the hometown of the doctor herself, DMD Britt Baker. Guess who was at the fucking draft, watching the draft in the crowd? Britt Baker. Baker looks healthy. Looks like she's ready to go. Hey, Mr. Tony Khan, why don't you bring her ass back to work and put her on television? You can use the likes of Britt Baker right now in that women's division. Britt looks like she's fine. Looks like she's ready to go. Looks like she's ready to compete. What the fuck is the holdup? What's the holdup? No, instead Tony Khan has Britt Baker in Guantanamo Bay not doing shit. Not doing shit. Where's Mercedes Moné? There was rumors that Mercedes was supposed to show up, 2 weeks ago? When they were in Canada? Because she was in Edmonton? Where's Mercedes Moné? Tony Storm's taking a hiatus right now. Who's your next big star in the women's division right now? Nobody. Why? Because Tony Khan's not building that next big women's star right now. That's evident. The biggest star you got right now in that women's division right now is Willow Nightingale. Where's Camille? You had her come back and do, one match against Willow? I'll call you. It's like, what the... It's like Tony Khan. He's just, I'll call you when I need you. Come on, bro. Come on. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? What are we doing? Nothing makes sense, man. I guarantee you Tony Khan books this show before he arrives at the fucking arena the day of. Write some fucking story, man. Get off your lazy ass and write a story. Something that makes sense. He's lazy. You're lazy. I'm sorry. Lackadaisical booking and pure ass laziness. Write a fucking story. Write something that makes sense for the fans to get behind, that's actually logical. You're throwing you're throwing shit up against the wall hoping something sticks at this point. It's not even turning chicken shit into chicken salad at this point. It's just, okay, well, yeah, we'll go with that. Somebody in the back and catering, hey, you know what, let's go with that idea. After he puts down his chicken parm sandwich or whatever the hell he's eating, oh, you know what, Tony, that's a good idea. Who's that guy? Whoever that guy is eating that chicken parm sandwich, let's hire that guy on the writing team. What the fuck are we doing here? Get off your ass and write a story. Stop booking this shit like it's All Japan Pro Wrestling or WCW 2000, for Christ's sake. I understand Tony Khan's a big nostalgia guy. He's a pro wrestling historian. Well, you're taking pro wrestling for the wrong history pages, bro, if you're booking this shit like WCW 2000, because it fucking flopped. Big time. And this ain't All Japan. I told you guys that. You can't book this shit tournament-based. It's not going to happen. Yes, we have tournaments. I get it. One of the best tournaments they have, if not the best, is the Owen. It's a great goddamn tournament, great concept, and it celebrates the life of the late, great Owen Hart. Big fan of the Owen. The winner of the Owen, for both men and women, respectfully, if whoever wins those tournaments, get an opportunity at the AEW World Title or the Women's AEW Championship. Fantastic idea, Tony Khan. But you can't keep booking dream matches with no fucking story. It's the same thing with All Japan. You got Kawada, Stan Hansen, Vader. The list goes on. Kabashi. Like, you can't keep doing the same shit over and over again, hoping it's going to change. This ain't 1985. This ain't All Japan. This ain't WCW 2000. You need story. All Japan wasn't giving out story. It was the best versus the best. Kawada, Misawa, Vader, Stan Hansen. That's what it was. Very tournament-based. Honestly. And let's look at WCW 2000. You think that shit was great? That shit was fucking horrible. 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 And that's what we're getting now. A lot of people have referenced WCW 2000 or late 1999 of what we're getting now in AEW. You guys go back as far as I do. WCW in the later years was fucking horrendous. It's awful. Judy Bagwell in a forklift match? Come on, bro. What the fuck are we doing? And that's the way that AEW is starting to go. And it's sad, bro, because I want this company to succeed. This company has all the potential in the goddamn world. They have the roster. Absolutely. They have the talent. We just want some story that makes sense. If they can go back to what they did in the first 3 years of just story alone, then take my money. Fine. Because it made sense. It was intrigue into what AEW was doing. You know what I mean? Remember the Wardlow MJF storyline? It was great. MJF and Jericho? Great. Sting's retirement tour? Great. Adam Page and Swerve storyline? Great. Why can't we get a little bit of that now? Why? It's because Tony Khan is fucking lazy. He doesn't want... Like, I'm telling you guys, man, he did everything up to his power to put on some of the best wrestling matches and the best storylines in the first couple years of AEW's existence right up until that TV rights deal was coming. Once he got his money from Time Warner, that foot was on the brakes, bro. We're on cruise control now. Because at that point, Tony Khan found out that AEW now is a viable product. That's why. Ever since then, AEW has been the drizzling shits for the past couple years. It's been horrible. Because the problem is that they're not facing any backlash right now. They're not facing any hostility right now from Time Warner. Time Warner pretty much is getting bought out by Paramount. So we don't even know what's going to happen with AEW once everything goes down. If they're going to stay with TBS or TNT, we don't know. We don't know. But would I be shocked if they didn't have a home? No, bro, because look at the shit that they're booking right now. And I feel bad for the talent. If that were to be the case. Where is the passion for this shit anymore? You're writing the shows the day of. You're coming up with ideas, throwing shit up against the wall, hoping something sticks. And if it does, that's what we're going with tonight on AEW episode, Dynamite episode of Dynamite. You're booking this shit on the fly, man, with no storyline, no intrigue, no passion, and expect the fans to get behind this bullshit. Now you'll have fans out, oh yeah, AEW is great, the AEW diehards. I told you guys, man, I'm going to say it like it is. You don't like it? Hey, it is what it is. This show fucking sucks. It sucks. I said the same shit about SmackDown, so there's no allegiance to AEW. SmackDown's fucking awful. And people are like, oh, they're going back to 2 hours. Yeah, but the show still fucking sucks. You ain't got no storyline or no progression or no intrigue. The show can go down to 1 fucking hour. It still could suck. I mean, give me some story. Give me some intrigue. Give me the when, where, and the why. SmackDown cleaned house in this latest WWE releases. Hell, they released the entire Wyatt 6 stable. Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy, Eric Rowan, Gacy, Loomis, and Nikki Cross. They are all gone. And just by that alone, half your goddamn tag team division on SmackDown's fucking gone. So how can I get behind that bullshit on SmackDown? You got people still lobbying WWE right now for the return of Kairi Sane, which they fucked that up on. I don't know why they released Kairi Sane. They released Kairi Sane and then they book a matchup between Io Sky and Asuka at Backlash, when the main vocal point of that whole storyline between Io and Asuka had everything to do with Kairi Sane. So you let that one key component go. Come on, bro. Oh, that's from Mark Shapiro and Ari Emanuel from TKO. No, the fuck it's not. Those decisions on those releases come down to 2 people and 2 people only. Nick Khan and Paul Levesque. Hate to break it to you. Ari Emanuel and Mark Shapiro from TKO give a rat's ass on who's on that roster. They don't even watch their own fucking show, bro. Come on. We're not sitting around in the round table drinking their fucking lattes saying, oh, you know what? I want Dante Chen, or I want Kairi Sane, or I want the Wyatt 6 gone from WWE. They don't give a fuck less on who's on that roster as long as they're making money. Probably what happened was Ari Emanuel and Mark Shapiro probably gave Paul Levesque and Nick Khan a number and said, this is how many talent I want released today. Figure it out. And that's what Nick Khan and Paul Levesque did. So those releases came down to Nick Khan and Paul Levesque. But with AEW, there's no releases, man. You guys have an abundance of talent. Just write a fucking story that makes sense. Some logic. I mean, it's not hard to comprehend. It's not rocket science, folks. It's really not. The reason why we don't get those storylines anymore, or that passion for the business anymore, is because at the end of the day, the owner of this company does not give a rat's ass. He doesn't care. He's booking this shit for himself. And because of that, this show is suffering. I'm telling you, man, it's only going to take a certain amount of talent to walk out that door from AEW, and they are in deep shit. And MJF is definitely one of those talents. MJF decides to walk. It's a very sad day in the confines of AEW. I'll just say that. Look what happened when CM Punk walked out. A lot of fans and a lot of things changed for AEW overnight once Punk left. I can tell you that shit right now. Same thing for Cody Rhodes. I'm just saying. And that's because they don't know how to build up talent. And like I said, with Darby Allin, this whole open challenge is a disaster. I cannot wait for Darby Allin to drop that title. I can't wait. It's a disaster. It's a shitty way to put over Darby Allin. Darby Allin really didn't deserve an opportunity at the title. It's a shitty way of doing business. And it's very, very lazy. And I don't think at the end of the day it's really going to do Darby Allin any justice, to be honest with you. They need to go back to the drawing board, man. They need to go back to what brought them to the dance. Some storyline, some intrigue, and get the fans excited to actually watch AEW's product. And until we get change, bro, it's going to be the same old song and dance, and people are going to vent their frustrations to high hell because they're pissed off with the way AEW is going. There needs to be change. There's no excuses at all. Tony Khan needs to get off his ass and write a story. The when, the where, and the why. Give us some intrigue, bro. Stop trying to book this shit like it's WCW 2000 or All Japan Pro Wrestling. You got lazy, sir. Ever since you signed that new TV rights deal, man, you put your foot on the brake and you hit cruise control. That's what you did. And gave a fuck less about everybody else. You don't care. You do not care. And it shows week in and week out on every single week of Dynamite. You do not give a shit anymore. Because you believe that what you're selling is the best thing since sliced bread. And it's not. It's not. And that goes across the board for all pro wrestling. I mean, Raw is no better either. Neither is SmackDown. 2026 for pro wrestling, or 2025 for that matter, has been the drizzling shits. There needs to be change, bro. That's just the way it is. I have no allegiance or ties to AEW. I just want better wrestling. And I want AEW to stick around, bro. I want them to be around for a very, very long time. Because not for nothing, it's great to have an alternative. Where you're not just stuck watching Raw and Dynamite. That's why back in the day, it was great to have WCW, because it wasn't just Monday Night Raw. It was Monday Night Raw, or you can watch Monday Night Nitro. Now, some of us, like myself, probably flip back and forth on the television to watch Raw and Nitro. Sure. Or you get your, back, I don't know, how old you guys go as far back as I do, but you get your little VHS tape, you pop it into the VHS player, and then you watch, let's say you want to watch Nitro, but then you go to another TV, if you're lucky to have one, and you put on Monday Night Raw and you hit record, and while that's recording, you're watching Nitro live, and then the following day, you get that little VHS tape out, you pop it back into the VHS player, you hit play, and that's it. So, I also apologize for my alarm going off for some reason, which I don't know why. Apologize for that. But, yeah, I mean, that's as far as I go back with, pro wrestling. I mean, you pop that little VHS tape in, you hit record, you watch Monday Night Raw, call it a day. And again, I do apologize for that sound, by the way. I don't know why that alarm was going off for some reason, but who knows. Just adds to the ambiance of today's episode, so here we are. But, yeah, I mean, AEW needs to change, man. It's just, it's a done deal. It's something that needs to change. We need storyline. And Darby Allin, I'm looking forward to Darby Allin dropping the title, to be honest with you. I'm not necessarily saying he needs to drop it to MJF. I'm sure MJF, I mean, like I said, Darby Allin said that MJF needs to put something on the line. If I was MJF, the only thing that you really got on the table that might interest Darby Allin is the fact that you will put on the line the possibilities of, okay, well, I'll take the rematch, and if I lose, I'll never ever challenge for the AEW World title again. Kind of the same thing that happened to Adam Page. So, yeah, and I can see that match going down to Double or Nothing. We already have Okada versus Takeshita for the international title. Double or Nothing is literally the first ever event for AEW, honestly. So usually Double or Nothing is stacked. So we're going to see how things play out. And hopefully, like I said, Double or Nothing, looking forward to it. Should be a stacked card. And I'm just looking for change, man, in AEW. I'm looking for some story. I'm looking for some intrigue. And the when, the where, and the why. And if we had that, I would be absolutely fine with AEW the way it's gone. I'm happy that Swerve's back. It looks like he's had his sights set on Bandito. Brody King now is taking a step back, hopefully, from the AEW World title. And hopefully next week is a better episode of AEW Dynamite than this week. So we'll see how things play out. But with that being said, though, this is my review of AEW's Dynamite. I hope you guys are out there staying safe. Be careful. And remember, stay classic. Peace.